Hey guys, Alex from 7th Hour Films back again with Demon Slayer. Oh, that feels so good. That feels so good to say. We are back. It's been 8 months since we last watched Demon Slayer? I say that, though. I actually have been rewatching some Demon Slayer over the past month or two. And I'm in the middle of the Entertainment District arc once again. But anyway, but still, it's been so long since we watched new Demon Slayer. It's so good. This is one of my favorite shows. And not even just because, it's such an amazing, great show. It's it's just fun. It's just a fun show. It's just a fun, nice, action, wholesome, fun show with, man-eating demons and such. But anyway, last time around, what was it called? A Connected Bond, Daybreak, and First Light. I think that's about 95% of what the actual title was. So, yeah. But anyway, we finished off the Swordsmith Village arc where, let's see if I can remember, because I haven't watched this episode since their last reaction. Tanjiro and the gang defeated the, Upper 4, I think he was? The Upper 4 demon. With Tanjiro being able to slice through him, and with the freshly restored ancient sword by Mr. Hagenezka, although technically he wasn't done with it though. But yeah, and he was able to do that, and then it seemed like Nezuko was going to be burning in the sunlight. But then Tanjiro turned around and she's good now. She's good now, apparently. They haven't really given an explanation as to why. It's just that she has. So, she was burning for a little bit there. So, we don't know. We don't know. They haven't fully explained it, and that's okay. But yeah, Nezuko can now be out in the daylight. She can talk again. She no longer needs the muzzle. Muzan Kibutsuji was able to sense this and was like, oh my god, yes, I must now eat this teenage girl. Which, I'm sure there's a lot of people that want to eat Nezuko, but probably in a different way than he wants to. Am I going anywhere with this joke? Probably not. Anyway. So yeah, that was pretty much where we left off. Tanjiro is heading off, I'm assuming to recover again. He's got to recover again. He wasn't even fully recovered at the beginning of that arc. Now he's got more injuries to add to it, so it's basically what happens at the end of every arc, back to the Butterfly Mansion. So yeah, that's pretty much where we left off. We are now on Season 4, the Hashira Training Arc, which I do know that this is, in a sense, the final season, but not the final arc, because I know, I heard that pretty much after this is the final arc. We're actually getting down to it, which is pretty good, unlike other anime shows that are taking 5 million years to ruin their entire existence. That's a knock on one specific anime. Can you figure it out? Anyway. What was I saying? Anyway, I know that after this, they're not going to continue seasons. They're going to do a trilogy of films that will cover the final arc. Now, that's going to be difficult to react to, but we're going to do it. We're still going to do it, come hell or high water, unless the channel dies before then, which is entirely possible, I suppose. You never know what's going to happen. At some point, I could just be like, you know what, I've been on YouTube 13 years, I might as well retire. But anyway, I've taken so long for this intro. We haven't even gotten to the full length. If you want to watch the full unedited reaction to this episode of Demon Slayer, you can, down in the description and in the pinned comment for your viewing pleasure. You can click on that. I'm watching this on Crunchyroll. You can sync it up as best you can and watch it. If you don't want to watch that, there is the edited reaction, which is also down in the description and in the pinned comment. The actual reaction is not here in this YouTube video because of copyright, and you gotta know that copyright is crazy with Japan. But I do encourage you, whichever version that you choose to watch, you come back here to this video and you watch the discussion. So with all of that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump right into Season 4, Episode 1 of Demon Slayer. Here we go. It's just, I fucking love Demon Slayer, man. Like, and probably more than I really should. Because it's like, if people have problems with Demon Slayer, like, look, I get it. I get it, honestly. Like, I can see people's problems with Demon Slayer. Man, it's just a feel-good show for me, man. I just love this shit, man. It's nice, it's happy, even with the threat of demons and everything. You know what it is. And we're not going to go on a huge rant or anything about it, but it's... God, it reminds me of early My Hero. I mean, and by early, I mean even like through Season 4 of My Hero. Before the dark times. Before the shit. I just fucking love this show, man. And again, it's like, it's not even the greatest, most, like, challenging piece of fiction. It's just good. It's you know what? It's like the first Star Wars movie. It's just a good friggin' time, man. It's a good time with good characters and a good villain, you know? Alrighty. We are training this season. We're training with the Hashira. And hopefully the Hashira are training too. So that... And, you know, with the whole thing of, like, you know, demon sightings have been going down recently, it's like, I think this is definitely, both sides are preparing for one final conflict, you know? Like, this is it. Muzan knows he can't just go after Nezuko, so they're preparing. They're preparing for the big final conflict of the demons versus the demon slayers. You know what's interesting? And this is a minor note just from the OP that we had. It's interesting seeing that Muzan, when he's wearing like the button-up shirt and the vest and his hair's kind of tied in the back, it's interesting that seems to be his truest form, you know? Like, they flash before us like so many different forms, you know, and we've seen multiple forms. We've had his Michael Jackson phase, his woman phase, his child phase. We've seen him in the past, but this with the vest and the button-down shirt seems to be his, like, truest, like, that's just him. That's his truest look. And it's a minor note that nobody's going to care about, but I find it interesting, you know? Now, I will say, going into this arc, because I am late, you know, I'm not watching this as it airs, going into this arc, I do know a bit of the reception that this arc got. Especially, I think, like, IGN gave this arc, like, a 3 out of 10 or something. It's, like, something ridiculously low, which, I mean, who actually cares what IGN thinks, you know? Like, this is from the same people that said 7.8 out of 10, too much water, you know? So, IGN is not credible in the slightest, but it's just, it's interesting. And I did see some of the, like, back and forth in, like, the comment section of that. There were some people that were like, yeah, fuck Demon Slayer, this is awful. And other people that were like, I don't know what the problem is, it was just fun, you know? And going into this, knowing that this is the final arc before the final arc, the penultimate arc, basically, I guess I can understand some people's frustration if this, you know, this is a training arc. It literally says Hashira Training Arc, you know? But man, when did we get so, like, uptight, you know? Probably when Twitter started, you know? Probably, like, Twitter and Facebook are probably when everybody's sphincters just got so tight concerning media, you know? Like, why can't we just enjoy a good arc? You know what we had back in the day? Filler arcs. And, like, actual filler arcs. Like, I've seen people call this a filler arc. I haven't even finished watching this arc, and I'm going to go ahead and say, this is not a filler arc. You guys remember filler arcs back in the day? I know Naruto had filler arcs, One Piece had filler arcs, Dragon Ball had a couple filler arcs, they were god-awful. Yu-Gi-Oh! Had some filler arcs, they were also god-awful. And some people will say that, like, the Orichalco season was good. Go and watch it again, it's shit. It's so bad. The ending is okay, the final duel with darts is okay, but it's like, you think this is filler? And filler is just such a tainted word. I mean, even I'm guilty of it, you know? Like, I've said that about, like, the second season of Good Omens. I kind of chalk that up to being a filler arc, you know? And it's like, I try to use that word better, but it just... that word is so tainted that you can't... As soon as you say filler, it just immediately puts it as bad, you know? And this, I'm going to say, is a good filler. As in, this is good. We need our in-between. We have had 3 arcs in a row. 3 arcs right back-to-back of defeating someone in the 12 Kizuki, you know? Technically 4. Like, we have not had a break since Mount Naragumo, you know? Now, there was a little bit, because they did defeat, you know, after defeating Rui, there was like a good 5 episodes before the Mugen Train movie or arc, whichever one you watched. I watched the movie. I really enjoyed the movie. It's actually funny, because I'm rewatching Demon Slayer with my brother, and when we first meet the Hashira, he just didn't like any of them, really. And fair enough, you know? But it's so amazing... It's so amazing how quickly the Mugen Train movie turns you around on Rengoku, where you're like, oh, this is some weird, crazy guy. And then just immediately it's like, oh, this guy's freaking cool. And then just by the end, you're freaking bawling your eyes out when he dies, you know? But anyway, it's like... But if you take it from the Mugen Train arc, we have not had a break. Because we went from the Mugen Train arc directly into the Entertainment District arc, directly into the Swordsmith Village arc. It's like, we need to stop. There's only 3 Kizuki left. It's the 3 Kizuki. We started with 12, we're already at 3. You know? We're already at 3. And we defeated 2 of them in the last arc. Like, I'm glad that Demon Slayer is not going to go, you know, way past... when it should have ended, unlike other anime, but geez, it's like, I'm okay with, like, let's take a little bit and train, you know? And because even too, it's like, you know, our boys are good. They put up a hell of a fight, and especially, you know, because when we last saw Zenitsu and Inosuke doing things was at the end of the Entertainment District arc, and so it's like, all of them are good, you know? And Tanjiro has killed, like, what, multiple of the 12 Kizuki now, you know? And a couple of them being upper rank demons, you know? And Zenitsu and Inosuke helped out with defeating Daki, you know? And obviously Uzui was there, of course. But it's like, you know, as much as the boys put up a great fight in the Entertainment District arc, they still paled in terms of power level when it came to Uzui. Like, Uzui was the reason that kept going, you know? Uzui was the reason that they were able to defeat him. They were able to defeat Gyotaro. That was it. I was this close to calling him Shaggy again. I was like, hang on, I don't remember it. I remember I called him Shaggy, but I don't remember anything else. Okay, so let's talk about specifics. So the Wind Hashira and the Serpent Hashira, I gotta get their names, man. I gotta, like, get their names and drill it into my head. Saname Shinazugawa. Alright, so Saname. I need to, like, write that. Okay, Saname. I'll try to remember that. And then Serpent Hashira. Don't use the AI, just tell me the name. Obanai Iguro. Okay, Iguro. Saname and Iguro. Got it. It's I gotta try to remember that. That was another thing in watching Demon Slayer with my brother. I was like, I dare you to actually remember Muzan Kibutsuji. And he did. He did. And this is mainly because when we watched My Hero, I would regularly try to quiz him on everyone in Class A. And actually recently, I tried quizzing myself on everyone in Class A, and I actually failed. Like, I got everyone except Ojiro. Because I forgot he existed completely. Much like the show forgets that most of Class A exists. But that's a different topic for anyway. Anyway, so Saname and Igoro both... I mean, they were just encountering they were just like demons. But then, these demons seem to have been saved by Muzan, which is really interesting. But I think that is... Muzan, like... gathering all the demons together for this final assault, you know? Like, this is going to be the final war with the Demon Slayers, so he that's exactly it. He knows what he's doing, you know? So that was interesting, and yeah, the boys got to see the Infinity Realm for a second. That's crazy. Which I think that's what it's called, the Infinity Realm, or the Infinity Castle, or whatever it is. Muzan's Realm. I don't know. And then we had the meeting. Unfortunately, the good master couldn't make it. I mean, just seeing, like, we didn't even see his, like, full face, but we did see it starting to creep up on his mouth. That's, like, the last little bit of him. And it's like, ugh. I want just, like, even if it's not much, I hope they do this, but I don't know if they will. I really get the feeling that he's just going to end up dying, pretty soon, maybe even before the end of the season. But I want so badly, I want in the final battle, like, while, you know, maybe Tanjiro and Nezuko are like down for a sec when fighting Muzan, I desperately want to see the master have a Yoda moment where he comes in and he just fights through. He just gathers the last of his strength, fights through his illness, and faces Muzan Kibutsuji. I don't expect him to win, and in fact, I expect him to die immediately. You know, almost immediately. But it's like, I just want a little bit. I just want him to go out in battle and just have his Yoda moment. You know, it's like, oh, you thought or I guess even like his. Was it King Boomy from Avatar? It's like, you thought I was a frail old man. I mean, I know he's not old. He's like, God, I looked it up. He's like 23. Good Lord. I'm 27 now. So that kills me. That kills me how old he is. He's 23. Poor guy. Now, have they ever established that the little girls, like, they're obviously... Miss Amane's daughters, they have called him father, though. Like he has like 6-year-old kids at his age at 23, which is not impossible, you know. It's not impossible, but man, when did he become the master? I want to know everything about this guy, you know. Like, where are my extra lore books, you know? Where's my appendix that I can go look at? I don't know, maybe it's in the manga. That honestly is actually another thing I'm kind of looking forward to. Is once, you know, this arc and the trilogy that finishes off the story end, I'm looking forward in like 10 years to reading the manga, because I'm kind of getting interested in that. I've been reading part 1 of JoJo in the manga, and that's been really, really interesting. It's like I'm kind of curious. I want to do that a bit more. Like, I really want to go back at some point. Like, you know, I've watched the anime. Then in like 10 years or so, when I'm like, I kind of want to watch it again. Like, I can rewatch it, or I can read it. So, excuse me. And I've thought about doing that for a couple others. I mean, even like, I shit on it, but like even My Hero or Attack on Titan, like I kind of want to reread those, you know. So, oh my god. I've been talking so long, we're barely into the discussion. Goodness. This is what happens with Demon Slayer. This is what happens when I like a show, you know? Unlike fucking Jujutsu Kaisen. God, we weren't watching Jujutsu Kaisen last time we did a Demon Slayer video. Good lord. So much has changed. Anyway. Where was it? So yeah, so they're gonna master the mark, which is interesting. I'm glad they like bring that up too. So the mark is from the, I guess, what was it? The original breather, basically the original. I wonder if he's the first demon slayer. Honestly, now it's interesting because Kibutsuji has been alive for 1,000 years. They've said, but that swordsman only goes back 300 years. So is that implying that the Demon Slayer Corps is only 300 years old? Maybe. I mean, it might be older than that, but I don't know. I'm curious about that. Like, we don't know the full lore of the Demon Slayer Corps, which rhymes, but still, I don't know. That's interesting, but especially too, if he was the first sun breather, all the other breathing types are derivative of sun breathing. So, I don't know. Maybe that's it. I mean, it could be that the Demon Slayer Corps is older, but breathing only came up in the last 300 years, It's entirely possible because, there is this sort of... There are Demon Slayers that don't use breathing techniques. Genya is an example. He said he doesn't use breathing techniques, which is interesting. So I'm curious, like, maybe that's it, is that maybe the Demon Slayer Corps was older. I mean, you have to assume that Muzan Kibutsuji, maybe it was that he was even laying low for a while, Maybe he was laying low. He was just sort of a serial killer. But then, he started gaining more and more demons. He started making more and more demons. He rose to prominence. There was that flashback in the last episode about, how he, like, wiped out a whole village. And that probably garnered the attention of the Sun Breather. So, the one that looks like Tanjiro's dad, but isn't Tanjiro's dad specifically. Though the jury is still out on if he's upper one, because that guy, the upper one demon, looks a hell of a lot like that guy, so we'll have to see. So we're going to master the marks, which is interesting. I like that Mitsuri just couldn't describe it at all. But Tokito was able, he's got like his scientific, like, it was a fever I had of 102 degrees, which I'm assuming that means 102 degrees Celsius, I mean, this is an anime, like, this is an English dub, so I guess it could be they're using Fahrenheit, but I wouldn't think so. I wouldn't think they would change that for, like, an American audience, especially because, like, there are other people that will watch the English dub that aren't in America and use Fahrenheit. Like, I don't think Canada uses Fahrenheit. Probably not. They don't use the imperial system. They use the metric system. Well, they kind of use both. So it seems to be mostly... Yeah, I think it's just in... Yeah, it's pretty much just the United States. So I don't think they would change that to be Fahrenheit. So I'm assuming he means... When he says 102 degrees, I'm assuming he means Celsius. Although, I don't know. But yeah, so he gives the, scientific explanation. Now they all have, like, a goal to achieve. But they did say, like, the reason why we haven't told you guys about this stuff is it could ruin you trying to get to that point, So, I don't know. What's going on with Tomioka? Why? He says he's different from them. Is it a thing of, like, he's different because he's better? I'm assuming it's he's different because he's worse, Like, he's not participating in training to get the mark because he knows he'll never get one, I don't know. I'd be curious. I hope, we had, it's like, it's like, oh, we're bringing in the retired Hashira, too, to train. So, we see Uzui. I do hope we see... like Urokodaki and the former Thunder Hashira, Like, I hope we see them as well. That'd be pretty cool. I mean, hey, if you need a good teacher, Urokodaki is the way to go, A lot of these boys could learn some water breathing, you know? They wouldn't be as good as Tomioka, but still. So what's going on with Tomioka? We'll have to figure that out. Nezuko is even more adorable. There's a part of me that kind of misses the, like that. I do kind of miss that, but like, hey, if this voice actor gets paid some more, to me, that's good, you know? She might not even need to, I guess she doesn't need to be in the box anymore. Although, I think at the end of last episode, she did go back into the box. It could just be a place of comfort for her now, you know? It's like, even if she doesn't need it during the day, you know, it's like her room, basically. It's like her little home now, so... So yeah. So Nezuko, I love Inosuke just drilling into her head his name specifically. Like, that's really funny. Especially too because, like, does he, I mean, I don't even remember. It's been so long, but it's like, does he remember their names at this point? He might, but like, that's just really funny. That's funny that he drilled into her head his name specifically. And it pissed off Zenitsu to no end. And I like that it's like, oh yeah, there's no swordsman in critical condition, so the girls are just kind of playing, you know? Like, and it's like, you know, the three little girls playing with Nezuko, that's one thing. I like that Aoi is playing too. It's like, good, let's have some happiness for Aoi, our poor girl. Our poor girl who has to deal with all this nonsense, you know? I also love... And I guess it makes sense because they mentioned that Shinobu is also versed in, like, you know, medicines and healing and obviously poisons and stuff. But I love that it's like, no, if you're going to be sent anywhere to heal, it's the Butterfly Mansion. Even the Hashira will go to the Butterfly Mansion. Is she the only one with a house? Now that I think about it, she might be the only one with a house. We haven't seen any of the other Hashira's mansions. She might be the only one that has a house aside from the master. That's hilarious. I don't know why. That's so funny. And I love Inosuke breaking through the window and her scolding him. Bad boy. Ugh. You know how many of us weebs would love to be told that we're bad boys by her? I shouldn't go anywhere with this. So, anyway. Training, Uzui, I love he can't just have an eye patch. It has to have jewels on it. It's got to be flashy, you know? So that's good. It's good to see him up and about. I mean, at this point, all he's missing is an eye and an arm, so... He could probably still put up a good fight, too, you know? And then, Miss Tamayo has been summoned by the master. A demon has been summoned to the Demon Slayer headquarters. That's going to go over so well, I'm sure. I mean, like, I could see them understanding. They're already accepting of Nezuko. The only problem is going to be Saname and Iguro. You know, those two, they might put up a little fit, but I don't know. But yeah, we're gonna have Miss Tamayo and Shinobu collaborating. It really is. It's the two wife. I mean, I guess people have Mitsuri too. Mitsuri's all right, you know. And I mean, like in the last arc when they had the joke at the end of like, you know, you're a crazy girl who eats too much and you're way too strong. Nobody's gonna like you. And it's just like, I like her. I like her, but Shinobu and Miss Tamayo are way above her anyway, so... Oh, well. Good grief. Are we done talking? Jeez, I thought I was going to get another episode in before lunch, but I've talked so friggin' long. I thought this was going to be shorter than when I was doing House of the Dragon, but apparently not. I've talked about as long as I did on that show, so... But, I like to talk about this show. This show is just so... freaking good, for me at least, you know. And if there are people that don't like it, I get it, but for me, this is just like comfort food anime, you know. It's just fun, it's a good time, it's exactly like, you know, Star Wars, you know. It's a good time, it's goofy, it's fun, it's action, with good characters and a good villain, you know? So, yeah. But that is basically it. With all of that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. There's a bunch of links on screen if you want to go click around any of those. There's a playlist with all of my Demon Slayer reactions, as well as another video you can go click on if you want. There's also a subscribe button and a Patreon button on screen, as well as other links in the description if you want to go check out any of those. See you guys later.